Hello everybody, welcome back to DomiNationsTV. My name is Adam and today I'm bringing you episode 3 of Dominations for Dummies, and today we're going to be covering the beginner's checklist. Alright, now it's important to operationally define beginner, and for the intents and purposes of this video, a beginner is going to be any player who is below the industrial age, okay? You may be aware of some of these things, you may not, and I think it's important to touch on all of them. Alright, so beginning. You've heard me say this before, you're going to hear me say it again. Your offense is much more important than your defense in Dominations. Okay? So you want to, first things first, you want to upgrade your offense to get it as powerful as you can while spending extra resources on upgrading your walls. Alright, so once your walls get level 8, you can use gold and food to upgrade them to level 9 and above. Alright, so you really want to get your walls to level 8 as soon as you can. Then you can utilize both of your resources to continue to upgrade them. Alright, so your offense is going to make getting loot from attacks easier and more effective because you're a stronger force to reckon with and you can take down stronger defenses. Alright, so what this means is, first things first, you want to upgrade your barracks for the pure troop space, okay? So get your barracks upgraded, and this is going to allow you to bring more and more troops to war. Pretty self-explanatory. The more troops you have, the more DPS you're outputting. Okay, second, this could be first even, is your armory. Okay, your armory is going to allow you to train stronger troops. So, first thing you're going to need to do, probably when you go to a new age, unless you have Notre Dame, is you're going to need to upgrade a couple of your mills. That way you can upgrade your armory and unlock some of these, some of the troops. Okay, so first things first, I've said that like 5 times, you're going to want to unlock your howitzers and your rifles first. If you're a rifle nation, Korean, Chinese, or British. If you're French or Greek, you want to unlock your tanks and your howitzers, and then always your supply trucks as well. I haven't done my tanks or my supply trucks because I use the tactical helicopter for supply, and I don't use tanks unless it's from my alliance gate, from the ARLs from the French. Okay, so once you prioritize your troops and you unlock those, you're going to roll through your tactics and prioritize your sabotage and your protect. And if you are industrial or above, your decoys are going to be your best friend, alright? So make sure you get those rolling too. And then your generals too. So you can bring 1 general, or 2 if you have the research done in the library, or 3 if you're a high enough age. And it's important to note that when you upgrade a general, for example, from level 3 to 4, it's going to have a pretty incremental standard increase to its HP and its DPS. However, from 4 to 5, it's going to be the same, but then from 5 to 6, it's going to be a big bump, and you're going to get a nice big bump of HP and DPS, and that can be said for level 6, level 11, okay, level 16, and level 21, and you can keep moving up in those increments, and every time you get that 5th level, you're going to get a nice big bump in their stats. Okay, prioritize your aircraft. Your planes are very important, and your coalitions too if you're serious about war. Just be mindful that if you upgrade your coalitions, you are going to need to farm more national trade goods to bring them to war, which can be, you got to find a balance there. Not going to spend too much time on that though. So your barracks and your armory first, and then you're going to want to do your alliance gate. Okay, that way you can bring stronger troops from your alliance members. Specifically, if you're French, you really want to prioritize this because that's one of your nation's perks, is an increased alliance gate troops space. I know members in my alliance have 39 who are French. That's huge. Next, we're going to talk about the merc camp. You want to upgrade your mercenary camp to bring mercenaries to war. You want to upgrade it to upgrade the capacity and to get stronger troops from it. You don't want to be using these in multiplayer attacks, only in war attacks, and the same can be said for your stronghold troop tactics, only in war, guys. And you'll notice that I didn't say, okay, upgrade your barracks, your armory, your merc camp, and your factory. Okay, don't worry about your factory until you're a higher age, unless you're a completionist and you like to max out everything in your age before you go to the next, which I don't recommend. Offense, 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 then you can age up. But before you get out of the Enlightenment age or the Industrial age, guys, you really, really want to be sure, and I wish I had known how important this was earlier, that you have your university really, really rolling. Okay, you want Leonardo, you want to complete the minimum requirements to get down to your cannons, your howitzers, whatever they're called at your age, or artillery, and you want to max these out, okay? If I had known this earlier, trust me, they'd be maxed. On my Enlightenment Age German account, these are getting done very rapidly in the Enlightenment Age, more so than I am in the Atomic Age even, on this account. So your field howitzers, your cannons, very, 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 very important. You've heard me say it before, you'll hear me say it again. Okay, your rifles as well, minimum requirements, and then get your rifles done, very important. If you really want to go there and you're a hardcore tank player, you're going to want to get your civs and Sultan too, but that's going to be very difficult as it's the 4th stage. It's just going to take a long time, and I think you can't even unlock that until Industrial Age. Maybe Global, but I'm almost positive Industrial Age you can get level 4. Be mindful you are going to have to upgrade your university to level 6, or I'm sorry, I think it's level 3, or maybe even 2, to get your cannons rolling. So you're going to have to do that. But uni is very important. Always have a constant flow of civs in there. The only reason that I don't right now is because I'm working on my Sydney Opera House, my Atomic Wonder, which takes 10 civs. But as soon as that's done, my civs are going to be right back in the university. Alright, so to continue, let's see. We can touch on wonders. Just quick tip. I'm going to make probably a full video on wonders and go a little bit into depth on them. But a lot of players are going to agree with this. Some may not. But honestly, guys, the standard for war and to be a strong attacking force is Versailles for 10% increased troop health and 40% decreased any troops that come into range of Versailles, even when it's destroyed, are going to be slowed down by 40%, so that's great. And then your Colosseum is your next wonder that you're going to always want to have, and we're not talking about for defense. I mean, it's a marginal increase of your defensive threat with the spawning little infantry guys, but on offense, the Strength of the Gladiator is very strong. It increases the speed of your troops and how much damage they deal, and that's a war tactic that you can bring to war. You don't want to be using Strength of the Gladiator in multiplayer. Now, some players do disagree on this wonder. We're not going to touch on Forbidden City or Notre Dame. Forbidden City is defensive. Notre Dame is an economy wonder. But some players do like the Terracotta Army more than they like the Strength of the Gladiator tactic, and I can understand that. It's going to allow you to bring 10 rifles and 10 infantry. Okay, that's the perk of the Terracotta. You can use that in war attacks. But personally, I prefer the Colosseum Strength of the Gladiator. Other members of my alliance feel the opposite, but that's just how I feel, so take that for what you will. Lastly, if you are in Industrial or above, you're going to want to bring the Brandenburg Gate, which is going to give you the Blitzkrieg war tactic, which locks down all spawning buildings, including the town center and the fort, for, 12 seconds or so. And you're going to want to take that over the Kremlin, the Eiffel Tower, or the Statue of Liberty. I had the Statue of Liberty for a short period of time because of the 20% increase to plane DPS. But Blitzkrieg is Brandenburg Gate is more important with the Blitzkrieg war tactic. And then further, once you get stronger alliance or factory troops, it's going to increase their DPS by 20%. So that's nice in the higher ages when you're bringing bazookas and tactical helicopters and APCs to war. Okay, so that's the basics there, guys. Now we're going to touch on library research, and your library is nearly as important as the university, and even more so until you've completed certain milestones in it. And your library should really always be cooking because it requires no civs. So to begin from to start at the beginning, I'm just going to let you know right now, I'm not going to dive too deep into this. I want to keep this video short and sweet as I can. You really want to do the bare minimums. Do just the bare minimums that you can just to get to banners. Okay, banners is an absolute necessity. It's a quality of life improvement, and it'll make you a much, much stronger attacker. Okay, it's kind of expensive when you're unlocking the chapters to it. It can be a little pricey, and I think the last one does take like a week, but just look at this, guys. So your rally is going to unlock 5 seconds quicker, so that's a pure buff to that. Your Chapter 2 is going to make it last twice as long, so your troops are going to speed up for twice as long. It's great. And Chapter 3 and 4 are going to give you 30 seconds to your battle timer length, so 30 seconds longer to clear a base is great. And then the last one is what's the most important, This is going to give you 15 seconds extra to earn the quick victory star. So you'll notice sometimes players will clear an entire base, get 100% in war, but they'll only get 4 stars and not 5. And that's usually because they missed the quick victory. Well, in that case, it's always because they had missed the quick victory. And unlocking this chapter 5 of banners is gonna, it's huge. I can't imagine not having that as a competitive player in war. So you really want to rush through your entire library just to get that. And I know it's pricey, but prioritize this over everything else. And you'll see how big of a difference it makes, guys. I promise you. Now, to touch briefly on everything else that you should have, your most important research starting from the beginning is free companies, which is for your foot infantry. I'm sorry, free companies is for your mercenaries. Okay. And then cast iron is primarily for your foot infantry to make them more viable, as well as your rifles are going to get 10% more attack. Okay, and then ramparts, which is going to be for your walls. Okay, your walls are very important. They can slow down attackers in war and in multiplayer as well. Okay, chivalry, which is a pure upgrade to troop stats. And I know that these 10% here, 10% there type of increases can seem kind of trivial or incremental to players who don't really understand just how important this is when you look at it from a statistical DPS output equation or calculation. Having these is essential to becoming an optimized player, especially in a world war environment. Okay, now next we're going to talk about Zeal Chapter 2. So Zeal, you want to get just Chapter 2 done. You can do the other ones later on. But Chapter 2 is going to give plus 50% duration of your timed blessings, which is going to make your training blessing last an hour instead of 40 minutes. So that's wonderful. Okay, ballistics. That's going to reduce the troop space of your Howies and of your supply trucks by 1, so that's going to allow you to bring more rifles or wall miners, etc. And then that last chapter is great as well, so that's going to make your cannons, your artillery, your howitzers attack 10% faster. Those are slow firing troops, so that can be a big help. Nice quality of life increase and a DPS increase. Next is going to be your battle tactics. It's going to increase the effectiveness of your tactics that you're bringing to war. And then Chapter 3 is great. It's going to allow you to bring 1 more. Okay, so we're just blazing through this, guys. We already talked about banners, so really do the bare minimums, get banners maxed, and then go back. Okay, next is going to be the only defensive thing I'm going to talk about today is engineering. Okay, your traps are very effective on defense. They can really put a hurting on an attacker no matter what age you're at. If your traps are well placed and they're maxed out for your age, it's going to be very strong on defense. You want to prioritize your caltrops, get those to barbed wires as soon as you can. Then you're going to prioritize your spike traps and get those to landmines. And then your ambush traps are going to be last. They're going to really come into play a little bit later in the game when you have a little bit more research done on them and get them ranked up even higher. But guys, if you have 1 civ or 2 civs or 3 and you don't really know what to do with them because your university, you have Leonardo and you have King Sejong rolling, which you always should until your rifles and cannons are maxed, and you have some extra civs laying around, throw them onto traps. But remember, always keep 1 civ so that we can do walls, right? And just a quick note, so I don't forget, guys, get your forests done. Forests are very important. They increase the time that it's going to take to clear an entire base in war, because they're going to have the troops that are attacking you are going to have more space to cover. Okay, it's pretty simple to understand, I think, but a lot of people sleep on that. Make sure you don't. Make sure you clear a lot of forests and max it out before you age. I really recommend that, especially if you're in Enlightenment age or below. Max out your forests before you age, guys. All right, well, that is literally it. Looks like we do actually have Standing Army. Standing Army is going to increase your troop capacity by 15 once you max it out. And Chapter 4 is lovely. 10% more attack or healing and 10% more health for all of your barracks troops. So these things are very important. And then leadership, you do want to get that 3rd chapter done so you can train a 2nd general using oil. And yeah, guys, I appreciate you watching. If you made it this far in the video, can you leave me a rating? That would be great. It does take a little bit of time to gather all of this information. I type it up beforehand, and I really make kind of a little bit of a dialogue for me to follow. And yeah, I'd appreciate it if you could leave a rating if you like this Dominations for Dummies series. And if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe for more. There will be more coming. And I appreciate you guys, and stay tuned for more, and take care.